Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our last class on BMN 504, Foundations of Buddhist Thought, Part 1. And today is June 13th, 2022, the last session. The final exam day, as I told you on last week. So today, what our plan is to review a little bit of review of what we did over the last 9 weeks. I think now toward the end of this session, toward the end of this class, you should be able to now talk about the basic Buddhist teachings or the fundamental Buddhist teachings, and also there are developments in the near centuries of the passing of the Buddha. So first of all, we were looking at the Indian background where the Buddha was born in the 6th century BCE, remember? And what type of religious and philosophical background during that time in India, and how that background created a personality like Buddha, a person like Buddha. In other words, philosophical and social and also religious background wherein Buddhism arose. So because one of the fundamental things that we need to understand is for any given philosophy, any given ideology, any given sort of way of life, existing conditions gives a big effect. How effective those things were. We were looking at those things, surveying those things, and also we were looking at the life of the Buddha, his life events, and how he made the decision to leave the palace, and also what type of thing he attained, what we may now call enlightenment. So in the first lecture, the first class, we were looking at those things. So you need to understand that as the existing religious background in India at the time, Brahmanism, or today we call Hinduism, those ideas were sort of providing the background for the Buddha's teachings to come into existence. Sometimes Buddha criticized some of those ideas, and sometimes he made use of them in order to present his own teachings. We were looking at those things in our first class. And then we moved on to the afterwards. We did discuss various Buddhist teachings. There are many, but we chose certain foundational teachings. You cannot talk about Buddhism without those teachings that we discussed. The very first thing we discussed was karma. And you saw that karma is our action, intention, all our actions won't become karma, only those intentional actions. Action with your intention. If I move my hand like this, it's not karma. Karma is intentional action that will produce results. So karma and vipaka, the action and the reaction, response or effect. We were looking at those things. And we emphasized the fact that everything does not happen according to karma. Karma is only one factor, one defining factor of our life. It is not the all-powerful thing in our life. We can change karma. We can go against with your effort. With our effort, we can defeat the consequences of karma. So don't believe that you have to suffer for all your karmas. Some of the karmas that you have done in the past, by doing good things, you can overcome the bad results of those karma. And at the same time, the other teaching that is connected with the Buddhist theory of karma is rebirth. Rebirth is, as we saw, it is happen. Rebirth is possible because of the past karma. Karma creates your next life. Karma creates our next life. So, based on our karma, we will get rebirth. If you have done a lot of good karmas, chances are that you may get a good birth. That's the theory. And then another very important teaching found in Buddhism is Four Noble Truths. So we were talking about that thing in great detail. Suffering, cause of suffering, end of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering or the end of suffering. Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Marga. So these four noble truths we were looking at in great detail because it's one of the most important teachings in Buddhism. In fact, the very first sermon of the Buddha is based on these Four Noble Truths. So without Four Noble Truths, you cannot talk about Buddhist teachings. This is the most important teaching in Buddhism. So I told you at the beginning when we were discussing about these things that any given religion is trying to solve a problem. You name it, any given religion. That's a basic issue that religion is addressing. So in terms of Buddhism, the big issue is that we are unsatisfied. We are in suffering. We use that word, unsatisfied. No matter what we have, we are not satisfied. The satisfaction we cannot maintain for a long period of time. And that is suffering. And then we were looking at what is the cause of suffering. We named it as our desire. Our desire is the cause of suffering. And the solution for this problem is finding release from suffering or nibbana, nirvana, attaining enlightenment, is the end of suffering. And then what was the path? What is the path to attain enlightenment? Noble Eightfold Path. So we discussed about the 8 limbs of the path. Very important teaching, and that's the way of life according to Buddhism. And those were the basic teachings. And then another basic Buddhist teaching that we paid attention was the anatta, doctrine of anatta, or the teaching on no self. So remember that we were discussing that there are names, labels given to anything in sense. There are no things like that. We call just designations. In fact, there is no a person called I. When I analyze my body and mind, you cannot find a thing or an entity called I. So combination of these 5 aggregates, we were talking about that thing. Combination of the 5 aggregates, we use the designation as I, me, and any other thing. So other than that, there is no self. That is the idea. And excuse me. The other important teaching that we focused on our way was Buddhist meditation. Today, that's more popular than any other teachings of the Buddha. That's a practice, actually. You are not learning meditation, but that's the practical aspect of Buddhism. In order to attain peace and harmony in you, you have to practice what you may call meditation. Bhavana, remember? We were talking about bhavana. Bhavana is mental culture. Development of your mind. Development of wholesome states of mind. And that's called bhavana. And we were looking at samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana. Remember? Samatha is tranquility. Vipassana is insight. So those, basically in early Buddhist teachings, you find these 2 types of meditation. And in later history, there arose certain new types of practices like Zen meditation, Chan meditation, depending on cultural settings where Buddhism got contact with. So that Buddhist meditation was one of the key teachings of Buddhism, foundational teachings. And afterwards, we, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we were looking at the development of Buddhism after the passing of the Buddha. So we saw a very big branch called Theravada Buddhism, how it arose in India and elsewhere. And their emphasis on Abhidhamma, higher teachings, we were looking at those things. Abhidhamma is higher teachings, extra teachings, based on the discourses of the Buddha. The disciples of the Buddha, they developed those teachings into a big system called Abhidhamma, higher teachings. And then the other important branch of Buddhism was, as we looked at, was Mahayana tradition. So Theravada and Mahayana, and we use another word as Mahayanists use, Hinayana and Mahayana. Greater vehicle and smaller, lesser vehicle. So we were talking about those things. And that was the basic topics, basic topics that we were paying attention to in this class. So in all, basic Buddhist teachings, not in great detail, but in at least introductory level, we were looking at those teachings. So now you are in a position to talk about the foundational teachings of Buddhist, fundamental Buddhist teachings. Now we are ready for the exam, that means. So any given topic, any given teachings of the Buddha, now you can give lectures now, right? So that is the end of the class, and thank you very much for joining this class. Hope you enjoyed the class, and also you gain a lot of understanding about the basic Buddhist teachings. Now, today you will get the final exam in an email. So please answer the questions in the final exam, and then you will be done with this course. Those of you who had submitted the midterm exam and also your homework, plus this final exam today, based on those things, you will be evaluated how you performed in this class. So that's it for today. And thank you very much. And after the exam, enjoy your summer. Thank you.